The Egyptians don't have a monopoly on hieroglyphs, because basically any kind of writing system where pictures represent words or syllables can be termed as a form of hieroglyph. Maybe one day bathroom stall graffiti will be recognized for its hieroglyphic status. But for now, we're just going to concentrate on examples from the dawn of civilization, from the ancient Greeks, and from the elusive builders of the Easter Island statues, as we take a look at the 7 most mysterious hieroglyphs. In at number 7, the oldest computer. In the 1960s, archaeologists working in western Iran excavated a series of small stone balls with hieroglyphic imagery on them. After a series of investigations into the objects using CT scanning and 3D modeling, we found that the spheres were over 5,000 years old. They were hollow, and that they also contained small geometric-shaped tokens within them. So what were they used for? Well, according to Christopher Woods of Chicago University, these small items may represent the world's oldest data collection system, with the undeciphered hieroglyphs on the outside representing either their purpose or the contents within. Only 150 intact versions of these spheres have ever been recovered, and understandably, museums are reluctant to go smashing them open for further analysis. Why wouldn't you let us smash things, you stupid museum jerks? But even more puzzling than this is the fact that similar spheres have also been found in Scotland, England, and Ireland. So what kind of information were these balls trying to convey? And will we ever be able to get inside these ancient Mesopotamian filing systems? At 6, the Dandalaith Stone. In 2013, a Scottish farmer was minding his own business, plowing his field of haggis or whatever, when he accidentally came across a gigantic stone covered in carvings on 2 opposite sides. This stone is over 1.7 meters long and weighs more than a ton. And based on the Pictish symbols of an eagle, crescent, and notched rectangle, it leads us to believe it was carved by the ancient Picts, who inhabited Scotland between the 6th and 8th centuries. The Picts were strange and mysterious people who painted and tattooed their faces and bodies, with the Romans in particular being quite fearful of their imposing presence. The Picts regularly clashed with their fancy Italian adversaries, as well as fending off Viking invasions on a number of occasions. But by the 11th century, the Pictish identity had all but completely melded into the society that was constantly streaming from Ireland. So what other mysteries will the Dandalaith Stone shed light on? Perhaps we'll find out, if we can decipher its message. At 5, the Tartaria Tablets. The Tartaria Tablets were found in 1961 on the site of a Neolithic village in Romania. And the reason these old bits of pottery might be important is because we could be looking at the oldest known form of writing in the world. The Tartarian hieroglyphs demonstrate a form of pictographic writing similar to that of the Sumerians, whose own form of writing was previously thought to be the oldest alongside Egyptian hieroglyphs. So of course we simply had to test these clay tablets to find out if they were the winner chicken dinner. But unfortunately, there was a problem. When the tablets were unearthed, they were found in a raw clay form. So workers at the Romanian Museum in Cluj-Napoca decided to bake them. This meant that we could never use the carbon-14 dating method to date them directly. However, a subsequent attempt at radiocarbon dating by a different method pegged them as having originated over 7,500 years ago, in 5500 BC. If this proves true, then Balkan Europe may have been home to a previously undocumented civilization to rival the cradle of life in Sumeria. Or it could just be a load of goat drawings, and not an actual language at all. We're just not quite sure. Number 4. The Phaistos Disc. If the Tartaria Tablets prove to have been falsely dated, or they're just a bunch of random scribbles, then the honor of creating Europe's first written language goes to the Minoan people. As the first literate culture in Europe, the Minoans used a mixture of Cretan hieroglyphs, as well as linear A and linear B writing systems, and out of these, only linear B has ever been deciphered. The Phaistos Disc is thought to represent our best chance at deciphering linear A, but this large clay plate has been in our possession for over 100 years, and we've still not figured out its secrets, as it seems unrelated to any other language we know. And we really want to solve this mystery really bad, because the Minoans were a fascinating civilization who randomly disappeared at 1450 BC, and whose home island may have been the inspiration for Atlantis, and was definitely the inspiration for the story of the Minotaur. So come on, ancient Minoans, give up your secrets. At 3. Rongorongo. Rongorongo is a style of hieroglyphic writing practiced by the Rapa Nui people of Easter Island. But despite numerous attempts, we've never been able to decipher the lost language of this mysterious civilization. The Rapa Nui are famous for their construction of the Easter Island heads between 1250 and 1500 AD, and while we think these statues may be depictions of tribal elders or some kind of spiritual object, we're still not 100% sure as to either their purpose nor how they were constructed. We're also unsure as to why many Rapa Nui seem to have died out, causing their civilization to collapse. But if we could decipher the Rongorongo glyphs, we may be able to find out. Sadly, we can't just ask the modern Eastern Island people, as they speak a more advanced form of Rapa Nui mixed with Spanish. And when you present them with a tablet inscribed with ancient Rongorongo, they are as stumped as the rest of us. At 2. Peev's Pictures. Dr. Alexander Peev was an archaeologist who was executed in Bulgaria in 1943 over accusations that he was a Soviet spy sending coded messages about Axis-aligned Bulgaria to the Allied powers. These were the codes which cost Dr. Peev his life, and we're willing to bet he was pretty peeved off when all this occurred, because although he was sending messages, he had no idea what they meant, if they even meant anything at all. Peev's codes were actually a series of inscriptions found on a cave wall in an old Bulgarian village, and far from containing any information about wartime activities, the markings actually date back to 1200 BC. There is some debate over whether these markings are man-made or naturally occurring, and those who believe the former, claiming they represent the discovery of an ancient Celtic, Slavic, or Phrygian language. As yet, we're not quite sure, but let's hope at least they hold some kind of importance. After all, they did cost Dr. Peev his life. And in at number 1, the birth of circumcision. According to historians, this image dating back to 2345 BC is proof that the idea of circumcision originated in ancient Egyptian culture rather than the Hebrew tradition we accept as the original creators. The scene, which was found in Ankh-Mahon's tomb in Saqqara, depicts practice of phallic worship, whereby the male genitalia are revered as sacred and in possession of magic powers. You hear that, little fella? Hey, you're an itty-bitty pants magician. Yay! This reverence came thanks to the story of Osiris, whose body was cut up into 14 pieces and scattered across Egypt. His wife managed to retrieve every piece and put Osiris back together again, with the exception of his penis. I'll bet that was on purpose. The phallus then became a symbol of fertility. And we think that scenes like this might show a progression of phallic worship to a point where circumcision was practiced. Fortunately for you Strange Mysteries fans, we've deciphered the hieroglyphs in the picture to read, "Hold it quickly, don't let it fall," followed with an "I'll do as you want." Then the guy holding his lotus bulb says, "Rub for efficacious ending." And we're pretty sure the slave is saying, "I'll make it painless and pleasant." So is this really an early example of circumcision, or a depiction of something entirely more sordid and salacious? And that's our list. It's amazing to think how much history might have been rewritten if we could decipher some of these ancient hieroglyphs and find out their secrets. And if you're interested in alternate history, you may want to check out our recent video on the 9 weird ways history could have changed. It's got mustaches, flying trains, and Brits in space. What more do you want?